Testing, testing, testing. Give me 1 second. Let's see. JB here, JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. January 2nd, 2024. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a happy New Year. I want to wish everybody a happy, healthy, and prosperous 2024. Let's see if this is working. Looks like it's working. Not going to get on and talk about too much. If you missed it, I did my top 5 stocks for 2024 webinar last night. Talked about a few names. All the names are down today. One day does not make a year. There's plenty of trading sessions in a year. Some of the names that I've put on that list were up quite a bit already in 2023. It seems like today is like folks were waiting for the new year to come in to take some profits, maybe get some cash on the sidelines, and then be able to deploy that later. I don't know. You have potential catalysts. You had China PMI data came in weaker than expected overnight. Then you have this earthquake in Japan. If anyone was around when the last tsunami hit those nuclear reactors in Japan, a whole crazy scenario. Futures tanked, market was down, Japan markets were down, and then 12 months later they're well above where they were when that event happened. Not saying that's a similar scenario because it's not as destructive, but that's some of it. And then you have geopolitical concerns. You have all these shipping headlines that come about. U.S. hitting these little bandit boats backed by Iran. Iran sending a ship out. Who knows if if there's any meat to those headlines? But all it does is add excuses for folks to take some profits to start the new year. And then I think what's going to happen, maybe today and tomorrow, some consolidation, some pullback, and then we'll have some buyers come in. It's still technically the Santa rally season. So the last 5 sessions of 2023 and the first 2 of 2024 are traditionally the Santa rally season, but we're giving some of those gains back. And if we close lower today and close lower tomorrow, it might actually be a negative Santa rally, which hasn't happened in quite some time. So a couple things I want to get into, and the first is ticker STAA. I added some Star Surgical calls. If you listen to my rant on the top 5 stocks for 2024 webinar, I think it's at a great spot here. The stock was $160 back in mid 2021, and just because it was $160 doesn't mean it's going to go back there. But the company was still in the cusp of rolling out their product. Still had rolling out internationally as well, and I think right now they're at the cusp of reaping the benefits of what's happened over the last 1.5 years with them. Their recent investor relations post, you look at their presentation, their investor day, they talked about having a goal of at least 15 to 20% compounded annual growth rate from 2024 to 2026. Huge opportunity in China. I think it does well. And you have 2 big activist stakes. So one, Broadwood Capital has over a 20% stake in STAA, and they just added more shares at about, I think it was $31.90 or so back in November. And then you have another Anatone Capital, I think their name is. They came out and issued a letter at the end of October saying you need to spin off your business, your China business. We think that's valued at least, that'll fetch at least a $5 billion valuation. Meanwhile, STAA market cap is only 1.5 billion right now. So who knows? I'm not trying to, those are some of the reasons why I look at the name and I say, wow, this is undervalued. And I think it has a great opportunity for upside. So that's one of my favorites. So I added some calls. If it continues to drop here, I'll look for some more strikes, probably February's, to play for a move into the 30s, 40s, so on and so forth. So that's STAA. So Gilead, and I'll put Biogen in the list. Those were 2 names I've been looking at for the last 3 or 4 weeks for a catch-up plays. As you'll see me post on FinTwit. I'm probably going to do it almost every day. I think this is the year of the bio, right? Biotech names have struggled over the last 6-7 years. There's really hasn't been a huge breakout, despite all the possible tailwinds, right? But this past year, you have obviously higher rates hurt names that that are early stage companies that don't have any products, they have no revenues, they have no cash flow. So the only way they can continue to doing their business and doing their research and doing their studies is by offerings or, some kind of other liquidity. And when you have rising rates, that does not bode well for the future for these companies, because if they try and raise capital, whether it be a debt offering, stock offering, what have you, the rising rate environment, it's more expensive. And so it's not a good thing. But if you take a look back in 2015, IBB was at, I think it was 2014 to 2015 was the last huge move in biotech. And it's almost like, I think a lot of folks have been waiting for this big move in biotech. And I think we're at that stage, 2024 to 2025, I think. Look at the biotech IBB, I think it's going to be up 15, 20%, just because of the entire backdrop of, a lot of these names that I think back in 2022 were trading at cash or below cash, some of these small cap names. There's a lot of studies that are coming out, some positive, hopefully some positive FDA news. So because of that, I just think it's the year of the bio. So, I was looking at Biogen, Gilead, and finally it looked like Gilead was breaking out. So I finally added some calls. I accidentally posted 85 strikes. There were 84 strikes, 18 cents. Stock ran from, I think it was 82 and change when I got them, up to high 83s. Locked some of the calls in for over 100%. I'll probably hold the rest. On the other side, I'm looking at Biogen too. Biogen, it's finally starting to break from the 260 handle, up nearly 3% today. Spreads are tough. So if you look at, I'm looking to trade calls on Biogen or Gilead, it's a heck of a lot easier because the spreads are tighter on Gilead and there's a lot more liquidity. When you look at Biogen, you can try and put a bid or an ask price in and maybe you'll get filled, but if the stock moves against you, then you're trying to get out. It's going to be very tough. So I don't want to be caught in that situation. But that's another name I'll probably look to get a position in the next day or two, because I think it's going to trade up near 290, 300 in the next week or two. Just as, I used catch-up plays at the end of the year, but I think this is the start of the big move in the biotechs, and some of these names that have underperformed, I think, are going to start to do well, which is Biogen, Gilead. You can take a look at some of the other names like Merck. Merck is up 3.5% today. No real news to speak of. Take a look at a name like Regeneron. Regeneron, $900 today, hit 905, up nearly 2.5%. So there's no big catalyst. There's no big bio news. There's no big buyout to rationalize this move, but those names are up. So I think it just goes to show. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of pent up, I don't even know the word to use, but I think there's a lot of folks who are waiting to get into the biotech to start the year. And you can see it in some of these names. So that's Gilead, Biogen, IBB. IBB's off its highs today. It hit 139.05. It's down to 137.68. But that's kind of like the indicator. So as that starts to go, I think the rest of these names are going to head higher. That's about it. Some of the other names I'm in are struggling today. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't even know what that's up. Altimmune down here at 1084, it's down 3%. VKTX down 2%. Weight Watchers, which you would think the start of this New Year's resolution season had pretty much already started. You would think it would be ramping higher. You look at Google Trends, you can see search interest has hyped up on Weight Watchers, but that doesn't matter. Stock is trading lower today. Not much to do there. TripAdvisor got an upgrade last Friday. Here it is down at 2086, down 3%. I think that starts to move higher, but I think some of these names have moved up so far, so fast that people are finally starting to take profits. And then you take a look at Redfin. I mean, it was over $11 on Friday. I think it was Friday, right, or Thursday? Let's see. I don't even have it up here, but it's back here at $10. Still love Redfin. And then my top 5 stocks. Take a look at MTH. That's down 2%. STRL, Sterling down 4%. Just to me, it's some of these names have been up so much in 2023. I think a lot of it's just a function of profit taking. So hopefully we shake this out. There's no crazy catalysts. If things get a little dicey, 460, 750 on the SPY. Hopefully that holds. You take a look at the chart on the SPY too. It's a little, there's a lot of empty space here. So we're up 8 weeks in a row on the S&P. Not to say we can't go up 9 weeks in a row, but it wouldn't be a surprise that we have some downside. And the last thing I talked about, and Ryan Dietrich posted on FinTwit, some great historicals. So there's been 10 or 11 instances of the S&P closing up 20% for the year since 1950. Of those 20 to 21 instances, only 4 of those times the next year the market closed lower. And on average, it gained 10%. So that's pretty good historicals when we're looking to what's going to happen in 2024. And then it's an election year. So in the fall, we'll have an election. There's also similar historicals, and part of it is that the market traditionally rallies January into February, and then there's a February swoon into March. So definitely two things to watch for. Nothing's ever certain. So, I mean, maybe this is the 5th time that the market's going to sell off in a year after closing up 20% the year before. I don't know. I put on my webinar. I'm not here to make the predictions on a long term. Rather just trade the short term for now and see what happens. I think that's it. Hope everyone had a great New Year. Happy and healthy, prosperous 2024 to everybody. I'll try and get on audio. Probably not today, but I'll probably do it again tomorrow. So have a great day, folks. Rock and roll.